Hello everybody, this is Borna Kazerani from Melbourne, Australia. I hope you're doing fine. Tonight, I'm gonna have a conversation with a very creative Australian artist who's called Wendy Olsen, who's based in Victoria, Australia. Her works include a variety of creative mediums and styles: watercolors, illustrations, acrylic painting and murals, and most recently, polymer clay sculptures. Wendy Olsen creates mixed media, surrealistic. Wendy Olsen creates mixed media, surrealistic sculptures by combining polymer clay with inanimate objects, neutral gemstones, and her to sculpt hyper-realistic hybrid animals and whimsical creatures. These creatures explore a multitude of themes: the relationship we have with domestic animals, human consumerism, and the use of everyday objects. Olsen's arts practice creates a forum for reflection and dialogue. And let me ask Wendy to join me for a conversation. There you go. Hello, Wendy.
Hello.
How are
Hi.
you doing?
I'm great, thanks.
Thank you very much for being here tonight, and
No,
I really,
thank
really
you.
appreciate it for your time. Sorry, let me put the volume down a little bit. Okay, thank you very much for being here tonight, and I really, really appreciate it for your time. How are you
Thank
doing?
you. I'm great. I'm great. I'm better than I was a couple of weeks ago.
What
So,
happened?
I came down quite sick and found out that I had the coronavirus. I'd
Oh my God.
yeah, I'd somehow picked that up on the plane ride home from America. And I felt sick about 2 days after arriving back in Australia, and I was already in involuntary lockdown. I was already isolated at home, and I developed a sore throat and a tickle in my chest, which I just kept coughing. And so I went off and got tested. I became more sick with fever and a lot of difficulty breathing. I could not breathe. So I then rang the COVID centre again, and they said, your test is negative. So if you get worse, go to hospital. I got worse. I went to hospital. They did a CT scan, and in the CT scan, they found fibrosis in my lungs as well as ground glass opacity, which is what the virus does to your lungs, creates this type of pneumonia. And
Oh,
then and after that, they said, well, have some antibiotics, go home, get better. I did that. I improved rapidly with the antibiotics. Then I got the results of that test back. It came back negative as well, but they said
okay.
that that was there just wasn't enough viral load in my nose to pick up as active, but I had it. So two doctors have confirmed that I've had it, despite the test being negative. And I can tell you that it's mostly unpleasant.
Oh, wow. I'm quite shocked actually, and I'm so sorry to hear that. And my first question was, how are you coping with such a crazy isolation?
I love it. I love it. It's actually really good. I don't have an excuse to leave the house now. I can just stay home and paint and sculpt and draw and be creative all day without any excuses to go anywhere.
Of course, of course. Anyways, I'm really sorry, Wendy, for that. A few days ago, I was browsing the Instagram and I came across your profile, and I really loved your job. And I was like quite impressed with what you've been doing it, and I keep pushing to that. I really want to talk to you because I really loved it. So I believe that your work is quite special, but I'm not sure. One of the things that actually crossed my mind whilst I was just looking at your stuff was who are your audiences? And in fact, and in fact, like you are an illustrator, sculptor, and painter. So tell me.
I describe myself as perhaps overly creative. I always have to be doing something. I started illustrating years ago and painting years ago. About 10 years ago, I've been painting. About 18 months ago, I started to sculpt, and I originally wanted to sculpt some zombie cookies to scare the kids for Halloween. So I made these. I ordered some teeth online, as you do, and when the teeth arrived to put in these cookies, they looked real. So that surprised me how realistic these teeth were, even though I'd bought acrylic fake teeth. But I think they actually came and they were porcelain, but they were teeth that dentists use in prosthetics.
Oh, really?
And yeah. So that inspired me to make this rat. I made a rat with teeth in it, which if you go through my Instagram, you'll see that.
I saw it, yes.
And that sort of got me thinking about, who would donate these great teeth? Nobody would donate brilliant teeth. So I thought, well, what would people do if they wanted to use prosthetic teeth that were real and do implants? And my imagination ran away with me. And I was thinking that they would, they would breed these rats. Do you remember the mouse with the ear on its back? There was a sculpture of a mouse with an ear on its back. And that got me thinking about how humans use animals in transplants and experiments and things like that. And there's a sentience to animals. They have personalities and feelings and all of that. So I wanted to show the life in these animals as well as the inanimate objects. So I started to make these rats. They grossed a lot of people out, and so I thought it would be funny.
I will ask you. I know.
They're quite confronting. So then I thought I will make some random shapes with mouths in them, which are like these guys. And
show me. Yes.
So
wow,
I started to make some different shapes with them, and these were much more affordable and a lot more fun. People found these ones humorous. And so then I decided I would make some with faces in them and eyes, and then my imagination ran away with me. I started to create little stories to go with them, and the rest is sort of history. I got quite a large following quite quickly on Instagram, but with people following these little stories. And
that's it. Because that's it actually. Because some of your works look extremely weird, and at the same time extremely unique, and make people to keep watching them. Like I couldn't leave your page. I didn't like it, but at the same time, like the feeling I get from them is like hate and love at the same time, and and I really love it. I can see there are a few common, as you mentioned, there are a few common elements in most of your sculpture works: the big black eyes, tongue, and lips. That's what you showed to us. And tell me. Well, you've said a little bit, but when was the first time the idea of using those things crossed your mind to creating things?
It was just really late at night, and I think I was quite overtired. And it really came from almost nowhere. There was no I think I will make something with teeth and a mouth, and I will go and make it fleshy. I'll add hair to it. There was no thought like that. It was just, I think I'll make this rat, and the form started to take shape, and then I just added as I went. There was no pre-planning involved. And you hear about people talking about becoming in the flow or in the zone.
Yeah.
And I believe that that's where 90% of my ideas come from. Sometimes they will flow onto another idea, but in general, my ideas come from either dreams or space.
That's
Just
very interesting. Like it like snaps you and you start create, and day by day, like you just add a little bit more and add a little bit more. That's very, very interesting because, yeah, that's very, very interesting. So, oh, and also, well, I'm a filmmaker myself and writer. So the message, you know, a few times I was interviewed like with different like journalists, and they wanted to know me the message that I want to give it to people. What's the message that I want to give it to people by like this film or with my other film? What is the message you want to pass to people? What do you want to say by your work? It's a very important thing, actually.
Yeah, I think so. With my sculptures, the message that I would like people to take away from my art is that even in the most ugly and unlikely places, you can find beauty. Because in my unattractive, ugly sculptures that people look at and think, oh, I hate that. After they learn the story behind it, or they look into the face a little longer, they begin to like it. You see the beauty in it. I think we're programmed to acknowledge beauty in unlikely places. And I think it's just a reminder to people to do that. But with my illustration work, especially the work that I've done in the last few weeks, that came from this virus and the situation that we all find ourselves in now. So my illustrations were all done in bed with me. I was too sick to get out of bed, so I took my watercolors and my sketchbook to bed with me, and they were all done in bed. And I had a dream. I think I had a really high fever, and I had a dream that I go on Facebook quite a bit, and I was looking through Facebook, and a Facebook friend who's another Melbourne artist, he'd been dressing up every day during this virus, and his dress-ups were great. I thought, what a brilliant way to entertain yourself and entertain other people. And I had this dream that I was illustrating his outfits, and I dreamt that I made a book about it and how Stefano was making the world a better place. And I had this weird dream. So when I was lucid again, I messaged him and said, I've had this idea. Would you mind if I illustrated some of your photos of your dress-ups? And he said, go for it. So that's what I started doing. I've got about 18 of them, maybe even more. And they're still inspiring. And I just love that we can make the best of a bad situation, no matter how bleak it is out there with this virus going around, or even inside your own house. You're sort of stuck in, a lot of people are stuck inside and don't have an outlet. And if I could encourage creativity, even if it's just putting on all the clothes in your wardrobe and
for us doesn't make it different because we don't care where we are, we don't care how long we're stuck locked into places. For me as a writer, I don't care. It's not strange to me. You know what I mean?
No.
Like, and we are not routine people. You know, it's not like okay, it's 8 a.m. Let's create something, but we're gonna finish it by 5 p.m. or 4 p.m. It doesn't work that way.
No.
And yeah, I completely. It's yeah, I'm feeling alright. Like, and plus I'm still creating, like doing live show.
Exactly. You see, like before, while I was in America, I was that's what's behind me. This guy. I was making a puppet show. So the creativity just doesn't stop. It's I create with whatever I've got around me. My imagination is a very big place.
Yes, absolutely. We see as artists, I had a conversation with another Australian artist another day. So the way that we're seeing the things is completely different. You know, it's like we constantly scanning and catching, you know, and using and we'll use those things that we code towards the creating our arts or um whatever we want to create. So, now I want to ask you a favor, please.
Yes.
And could you please show us around a little bit? I really love to see your like where you're working, and take us to the tour.
Okay.
Please.
Excuse the mess because I decided that I would.
We are an artist. Accept it. Right.
This
All right.
is some of my things.
There is an option. You can reverse the camera and then you can control it.
Yep, I will see how I go with that. I will come over here to this other side of the house and I can see that now.
Perfect.
Okay.
Oh la la. Okay. Don't go fast. Okay. I love to see them.
Yeah. Well, these are some of the these guys at the back. They are waddlers. They're little creatures that I imagined were created from undersea sponges. And I've got a story and a world that's happening with them. These are some of my most recent sculptures. These are the shrooms, and they are they're kind of fun. Like they've got lots of little details in them. And then
what's the material? What is the material you use to create?
These are all made out of polymer clay. So it's a type of, it's sort of like plasticine, and I bake it in the oven and it sets hard, and then I paint it and add little details to it. And then over here I have these guys are bobbleheads, and I've got these little minions. These guys are just little friends, I guess.
Very cute.
And I've got some in jars. Then up here I've got some of my artwork that I've kept. There's some of the paintings that I've done. And in here I've got one of my rats. I've got some others that are on exhibition.
Show me that rat. Show me that rat, please. Oh wow! What's the story behind that? Is that the one that you were telling us?
This is not the first one that I made, but it's one of the second or third ones that I made, and I made those in response to organ transplants and harvesting of organs, and what we would do if we were able to breed animals for every purpose that we wanted, I guess. And I just sort of thought, you know, these animals would be born without anything that they didn't need. So they basically only need a mouth to be able to eat with, and then whatever else people were going to breed them for, extra skin, teeth, tongues, mouths, sexual organs, or whatever. I figured that would be, they're quite confronting. They are.
What is that? What is the other one with the tongue out? Yeah, what is that
this
one?
Yeah. This is a teacup.
It's a cup.
It's a cup. Yes, I've got a range of cups. I've got these at the Stockroom Gallery in Melbourne as well. And yes, they have a different range of teacups and saucers and things like that. And these ones are ice creams.
Oh wow, that's very interesting. That one.
So
I love them. I love another work of yours, Three Sisters.
I've sold all of those.
Wow, well done. Well
Yeah,
done.
they've gone. The last
Oh
one
my
went
God,
to
look at that.
Texas today. So
Wow.
yeah, these are some of my stranger things. These are
Well,
teratomas.
wow.
Humans have been known to develop a tumor sometimes that have hairs and different different sort of features to them, like hair and teeth, and they terrified me growing up. So some things I make because I'm scared of them. Like I've made slugs and snails, and they're a big fear of mine. I don't like them at all, but I try to see the beauty in things so that I can conquer my fears.
That's
Life's
it.
too short to be afraid.
That's it. Darling, you can go back and see it. I don't want you to stand up. You're
Yeah.
not feeling 100% well. Thank you very much. I want to, yes, please. I really appreciate that. I shouldn't do it to you, but I want to take
No, that's
advantage as
okay.
much as I could.
And I can show you some of my newer work too, actually.
Yes.
Where is it?
No.
Like these little guys are just cute.
Wow.
And I've made
Mushrooms.
some more mushrooms, brown mushrooms. But I try to have a range of work that's both accessible and affordable, I guess.
Of course, and thank you very much for showing us around.
Oh, you're
And
welcome.
I've got lots of messages here. I want to go through some of them. They say, did you go? Sorry, they say, did you go to university to learning that? Can we hear more a little bit more a bit more about your background and education, please? There are a lot of questions, but can you
Yeah,
answer this one, please?
I can. I'm self-taught. I I always wanted to be an artist. I've always drawn pictures and I've always had a pen in my hand. So I've got books and books of phone doodles. So when I'm on the telephone, I'll be drawing, and it's just a way that I learnt. But with the sculpting, I was self-taught. I bought some clay and started to play with it. It was
Well
just
done.
persistence.
Well
I
done.
think
Well done. Well done.
persistence pays off. I did try to go to university, and I lasted about 4 days. Um,
Oh, why? What
um,
happened? You didn't
I,
like it?
I I actually became unwell. I started to
Oh,
go to university. I was going to do a short course at university, and then I was going to sign up to do my master's in January 2020. And I developed chronic fatigue syndrome and fibromyalgia, and that ended my university, my foray into going to university really quickly.
oh,
Um, I stopped eating sugar and bread and things like that, and I turned it around. So I've been healthy since.
mm,
But I decided that if in between now and then I somehow become successful, um, and we have different measures of success.
of course.
My measure of success has changed a lot, but I figured that if I achieve a couple of goals before the end of the year, I'm not going to go back to uni. And by October, I'd been to America. I went to America in November, December, and I'd been offered an exhibition in Los Angeles
I
at the
want to get
Coca
there too.
Gallery.
Yeah. Yes.
And I was offered another exhibition in San Francisco, another one in Athens, Georgia. I was also writing a puppet show and working on a sitcom in America. So all of these things happened because of my sculptures, mainly these guys. Um, so they will eventually have their own sitcom, I believe, if the world goes back to normal.
Of course, if no one knows what's gonna happen in such a crazy circumstances, and it's
If it
quite
doesn't,
confusing. It's really quite confusing. Well, tell me about the experience. Well, you've experienced different probably or lots of exhibition of your work outside of Australia and also inside of Australia. Tell me about your experiences a bit out of Australia, like the exhibitions that you have had probably.
Well, overseas exhibitions, the first one I've really had overseas was the one in LA in February, and that was great. It was such a good experience. The others were postponed due to the COVID virus, and the way I see it is it's either postponed, nothing's cancelled, it's either postponed, and it gives me an opportunity to do things online as well. So I would like to do some, I've got a tripod coming, so I'd like to do some tutorials and show people what I do live so they can watch me sculpt and paint.
Well done. Well done.
And look, if the pilot for the TV show doesn't ever go through, I could perhaps learn to animate myself. I don't think there are any barriers. As long as we've got internet and creativity, there's no barriers to what we can do.
I really like that attitude. So, in Australia, I'm just wondering. So, because it can't, we both are artists, and does the government, Australian government, help people like you regarding of funding if you need like funding for any project? Or you are the only one who are in charge of everything and plus marketing for yourself?
At the moment, I'm in charge of everything. I've got a manager who I'm working with in America who will, once everything goes back to normal, he will handle most of my US contacts and things like that and do the liaising over there, which will be great. But at the moment, like we have NAVA, the National Association of Visual Artists in Australia. I'm not sure how much help they give to artists or anything like that. But for myself, I've just sort of dived into it. I thought, what have I got available to me? I've got art materials and internet. So every day at the same time, I started to post what I was making on the internet, and people would look at it and respond. And through that, I opened up an Etsy shop because I didn't have the funds to set up a website at the time. So I still haven't got the website done. I've been too busy, but at the start...
Do you really need to have a website? Because Instagram acts that way very much so. I don't have a website also. I finished lots of films and movies, but I never had a website. And I don't know, each time I wanted to have a website, something happened and like stopped me to like go and talk to somebody to have a website. And since I'm having Instagram, I don't see it as necessarily things to have. So what
I agree. I agree. I do agree. Every time I've gone to have a website, I did have one once, and I just thought it's just something else that I've got to maintain. But Instagram keeps a brilliant record of everything I've done in the last, years.
Exactly.
So people can go back and scroll through and they can see everything. And there's little stories to go with them. So I think that it's the way social media is now with Instagram and YouTube and Facebook and things like that. I think people can really keep up to date with everything that we're doing. So, yeah, I've not found the need to do it, but it also allows me to take control of what I am doing and what parts of my life I share with people. So I think that it's a good thing. The internet now allows artists to not rely on galleries, not rely on managers and websites or anything. They can really take their own career into their own hands.
That's it. That's it. That's what exactly I'm doing right now with you and with another 20 people in the past 21 day quarantining myself here, and what I needed is just the phone, and the thousands of people are watching what I'm doing. It doesn't cost me anything.
No.
And believe or not, I was talking to one of my friends and was telling, well, I get lots of audiences, and I thought, Well, I'm a very active person. I cannot just get up and doing nothing. Plus, apart from being an artist, I work for federal police and I'm an interpreter. I work in
Mhm.
criminal courts, county courts, and everything's shot. Everything is shot. And so, okay, so what I'm gonna do, and I have a no clue that how the idea just running the live show came across my mind. Then I was thinking like, oh, okay. And I started texting people. And the point was introducing, I'm from Iran originally, but I've been living in Australia for 15 years, introducing Iranian and all artists to the world and to my followers. And everyone responded in a really positive way. And I've gotten so many great feedback. If the corona didn't happen, believe me, I was not here tonight with you and for the rest who I was talking to on my
Yeah.
show. And yeah, so and plus for you, the what I'm trying to say is like that you can set up the camera, tripod, and
Mhm.
start to teaching that what exactly you're doing because
Yeah.
it's amazing. You know what I mean? And teach online because there are lots of musicians. Lots of friends of mine are musicians, and they can't go on stage, they can't have concerts. What they started doing that, like they teach online,
Yeah.
and they get a really good response.
Yeah. I think that giving something of yourself to other people is just so rewarding as well.
Of
I
course.
started sharing my sculptures online without the intention of selling them, without the intention of doing anything. I just wanted to put them out there and see what happened. And the response
Absolutely.
was just fantastic. It
No,
was
you
so
you will
good.
get a good response. You will get a good response. I don't want to keep you here lying here. I know you're not feeling 100% well. Uh, I was shocked when you told me that you were diagnosed positive with corona, and I'm really sorry.
Yeah, no,
And
thank you.
but I really admire your positive attitude and good luck with those plans that you're gonna have. If you need any advertising, I'm more than happy to do it for you freely on my Instagram. And I'm here to support all artists. And yeah, and
Thank you so much.
you're more than welcome.
And
It
I
was
think,
really, really. Sorry, go on.
sorry, I was going to say, I think it's important in this day and age that us artists, we support each other and encourage each other. So
Of course, of
I
course.
think it's brilliant and I love what you're doing.
Thank you. I really appreciate that for your part also. So, did you like the conversation?
Yes, absolutely. It's been lovely talking to you and I'm really happy that we've met.
Yes, yes. Through the cyber, but I hope we're gonna meet one day in the real life.
That would be brilliant. We'll find a lovely Melbourne coffee shop and have some coffee.
Absolutely, absolutely. It was really lovely talking to you, and hopefully, you're gonna have a fast recovery and
I'm feeling great.
kick out of this virus out of your body and wish
Definitely.
you all the best, really.
No, thank you so much.
You're more than welcome. Have a wonderful evening, Wendy.
You too. Bye.
All right, take care. Bye. Thank you very much for watching us. I had a conversation with Wendy Olsen. If you're interested about what she's doing, please go to her Instagram page and you can directly contact her. Have a wonderful day, night. Please stay at home. Please looking after yourself and just be patient. Just be patient. You're amazing people. Love you all. Thank you.